Welcome to US Business News. I'm your host, Isha Paul. I'm joined today with Kaylee Raymond James. We're going to talk about the inflation and 50% of the Americans, they only have 1,000 saved. So Kaylee's going to give us some tips on what we need to do during this inflation. Kaylee, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you so much. Now, we're living in America and Kaylee, it's getting expensive. The inflation has dropped from 9.06 to 2.97. But a lot of Americans, they're worried about retirement. They're worried about the inflation and saving money for school for their kids. Do you have any tips for us today?
Yeah, that's a great topics because you're right, very timely. It's been a really tough time. Like I think we need to acknowledge the stress and what this inflation has caused. And again, it's still lingering. I think we still see where things are really expensive, like housing costs, food costs, and that impacts, I would say, the vast majority of people. So in these times, I like to say to people, let's focus on what we can control because there's a lot that is out of our control. So we can't control the rate of inflation. Unfortunately, we can't go and, change policy, things like that. You can do things like vote and whatnot, but as you, an individual yourself, when you're being impacted by these factors, it's again, like kind of to go within and say, so what can I do in my life personally to reduce some of the stress, to make myself feel a little bit better in my finances? Because it might be like a very high stress time. So focusing on what you can control. So things like, what you're spending money on, where you're spending your money, like those are all things that are very much in your control. We might just have to take, more of a conscious effort with our spending. Maybe before you were sort of just shopping at whatever stores, were nearby or things like that. But maybe you're, taking a little bit more time now and deciding, like looking online and seeing what deals are out there and kind of, spending less, finding ways to cut back on things. I think we do need to acknowledge this is a tough season we're going through, but hopefully we can see it as that. Like this isn't permanent. We're in this tough time. Inflation was really high. It's coming back down. Hopefully the end of that is in sight and better days are ahead. So let's acknowledge it's a really tough season. And, this might not be something that's going to be going on years from today, but in this tough season, let's kind of hunker down and say, okay, what can I do? What can I control? I can be more conscious about where I'm spending my money. I can look back at my expenses and say, is there anything here that I could change? Is there anything here that I could, that is not necessarily a need right now that I can push off to a future date? Where I think we all kind of have those subscriptions and things like that just keep showing up as expenses. Take a look at those and say, actually, I probably don't really need this, and I can cancel that and save, $20 here and $30 there. And it might not seem like a lot, but it does really add up.
So most 50% of Americans, according to statistics, they have less than $1,000 saved. I'm already 47 years old. The average Social Security is $1,800 per month. Do you have any tips for us? How do we save more in this inflation, Kaylee?
Yes, I know it's a tough math problem to solve. You're right. Like that's a very important statistic we have to look at. And we have to say, Social Security is probably not enough. Like if we're trying to think of living a comfortable retirement, I don't think it's enough for the majority of people. So the onus for saving for retirement does fall on the individual as well. We can't just rely on those support programs, unfortunately. And yes, hearing that, there's not a lot of people that have a lot saved. Well, what can we do? Again, let's focus on what you can do. Let's focus on now and, clean slate, starting fresh now. So instead of, beating yourself up and saying this is hopeless, it's, never going to be better, or I'm doomed, or things like that. Let's try to shift that mindset first. So you put yourself in a good place where you're open to more possibility of seeing, okay, what can I do in my situation? And little changes can make a big difference. So maybe if you have an employer plan where they do a matching program with your 401k, that's a great thing to get involved in. And maybe you can't do the maximum match right now, but even any bit that you can put towards that, and the employer, if they're willing to match it, that's great. That's essentially like free money that they're putting in as well. So get that in place if that's something your employer offers. If not, try to set something up automatically yourself that comes out on your pay period. So let's say you're paid twice a month on the 1st and the 15th. Maybe you say, okay, $50 each time is going to go towards my long-term retirement savings. And you have an IRA or something like that that you open and put that away in. So if you can have it automatically done, it's a great idea to do, because that's like bills, right? Bills just kind of automatically come out, and it makes it easy, and it's sort of already gone. But let's do that with paying ourselves too, right? They always say, finance professionals, we say pay yourself first. And that's what we mean by that. Set up those automatic deposits into accounts for you as well. So if you can do anything, anything is better than nothing. I have examples of many clients that started small, single moms that said all I could afford to put away every month was $25 a month, but they kept up with that. And then as their kids got older and expenses came down, then they increased it. So again, we're going through a tough season. Maybe you have $25 to spare and that's it every month, but that's something. And then as things maybe change and you're being more conscious of your spending, okay, now I can do 50. Oh, wow, now I can do $100 a month. And it just feels good. Like doing something, I would say, just feels so much better than, again, going into that, oh my gosh, I'm doomed, what's going to happen? Shifting that around and instead saying, like, what is in my control? What can I do? It's very empowering. And again, it's these small victories that add up and you can look back on and you're like, wow, I wasn't saving anything before. Now I'm putting away $25 a month. That's a victory. And just give yourself credit for what you are doing.
So I have two more questions and then we're running out of time. So basically, Social Security is not a full retirement for us anymore in America, correct? It's like a third of our retirement. We need to open up a mandatory 401.
Yes, exactly. Like it's a piece, and the conversation's getting a little bit scary because they're talking about it's not, not being going to be fully funded, or, they could run out of money. That's a really scary thing to be hearing. So again, do whatever you can. The more you can do, the better. Like the less you're reliant on that number, by all means, the better. That is helpful and it's great, but if you can do whatever you can to say, I can't see that as a number I rely on, especially for young people. Don't rely on that number, because if they're talking about that potentially running out or not having enough, younger people are the ones that are really going to be impacted by that.
And now there's also parents are foregoing their retirement to send their kids to college. Do you have a problem? I mean, I sent myself to college. I think you sent yourself to college. Our generation now, Kaylee, at 50, they're sacrificing. Do you think that's a good idea to get a kid through college and sacrifice retirement? What do you do?
Yeah, it's tough. So I'm a mom and I have a 9-year-old and a 1-year-old. And in my, inside, you're like, I'll do anything for them, right? Like they're so precious, so sweet, your kids. And you're like, you just want what, you want better for them. You want everything for them. And I get that. So I get where parents are coming from. The intention is so, important, and their children are special. But we have to remember that airplane announcement of like, put your own safety mask on first before assisting someone else. So think about that with your finances too, because I think your kids as well want more than anything that you are okay and that you are set up for success. So if they have to, get some student loans or work a part-time job, look at if there's any scholarship opportunities. Those are all things that are okay as well. Again, you did it, I did it. I think we're okay. So we made it through. So don't think that you have to forego, your retirement savings or your financial future for your children. I think realistically, our children want us to succeed and have that as well. They don't want to think like, oh no, now I'm going to have to get a good job to, help support my mom in old age or whatnot, right? So let's teach our kids to be money savvy too, because instead of then just giving them money, we're setting them up with an important life skill that they can take with them forever. And that's worth more than, a dollar amount, right? That's like a priceless skill we're giving them. So anything you can do to teach your younger people, teens, about money. And I wrote a book, it's out now. We talked about this last time, but it's called Make Money Your Thing. And that's a great book for young people or people of any age, but it is just being more financially literate. Let's be more empowered with our money.
So now you know that after COVID, the 18 to 26-year-old kids in America, they moved in in the basement with their parents. What suggestion you have? I mean, you know how it goes with the inflation. They think they have it worse than our generation.
Yeah.
So inflation is, what hope does the young generation have? Do they get jobs? Do they start business? How do they get a home?
Yeah. I mean, I would say we all had like our own share of problems, right? Like, I think my first minimum wage job paid $5 an hour. So, maybe we didn't have as high of inflation, but that wasn't exactly a lot of money and it didn't go a long way. So we can all say we had problems, I think. Yes, in different
I was
generations.
18 and went to school. Yeah, you were at 5, I was at 6. Yeah, it was a lot back then.
Yes, yeah. But it's like you look back now and you're like, wow, that wouldn't buy you anything. So we worked hard to, if you have the opportunity to live with parents, any cost savings you can do it while you're young, because you probably don't want to have to be moving back with parents when you're in your 30s or you have children, things like that, right? You kind of want to be off on your own by that time. So I lived at home when I went to school. And again, I paid for my school, but living rent-free at home was a big help, because it made sure that I got through without student loans and things like that. So I was able to just pay for my school and that's it. So finding creative ways to save money, I think it's a great idea. As a mom with kids, I would love my kids to live with me longer. So that's my that's my take on it. I would be like, you're welcome to stay here. But, don't be a bum. Obviously be working and, working towards your financial future. So see this as a really good opportunity for savings, right? You're probably never going to get another opportunity like that to live rent free. I remember when I first moved out after university, I called my mom and I was like, wow, Mom, life is really expensive. So appreciate it while you have it and realize how much of a savings that is, and use that opportunity to really diligently, heavily save money, put money aside.
So basically, if we're living rent-free, it's not the end of the world. Try to start a business or save money or do something so we come out in a better position.
Yes, make the best of it, because you're not going to get many opportunities to live rent-free.
Wow, so that's a good opportunity. Thank you so much, Katie. Thanks so much for coming on. We'll see you.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you real soon. You've been watching US Business News. We'll be back another time. See you soon. Hit that free like and subscribe button. We'll be back another time. Take care.